have to click the little presentation thing on the bottom. The left, other side? Yeah. The arrows.
Hi, my name is Mindy.
Okay, I'm Anne.
And we did a cooking robot for our project because all three of us, we enjoy like cooking and baking, and we thought it would be a fun idea.
So initially we wanted the robot to be able to crack eggs, but then we realized that it would be too messy and dirty. We also wanted the robot to make a salad at the end, but that proved to be a too complicated idea.
So we also had some other initial ideas for a robot, like saving recipes onto it, having a voice activator, or being able to recognize different utensils, but we realized with the time and materials we had, and our knowledge of robotics, we couldn't really do it. So instead we went for a simpler project, salad. So there's supposed to be pictures up for the design of our robot. So basically our basic design was we were going to have a conveyor belt on it, and we were going to have a gripper and a knife, and then at the end it would just fall off the conveyor belt into a bowl.
So at first the main critiques that we got were it was like too complicated, which so we then cut it down to just like a cutting, sweeping, and like a gripping motion. And then we also, I think Jerry suggested it, that we do like a conveyor belt to have like a station for each of these objects. So we had one for cutting, mixing, and like sweeping and so on. And then a lot of people had questioned us how we were going to do the cutting motion because like the robot would have a hard time cooking it, but we did come up with an eventual design.
So when we actually started building, we thought it would be a really easy project to do, but then as time progressed, we realized it got harder and harder, and every single part just seemed to go wrong. And we got really frustrated.
So one of the struggles that we had with the robot was the building of the conveyor belt. So when we ran the program a few times in the beginning, the wheels at the end would always pop off, and then the chains on the conveyor belt would drag on the ground, creating a lot of friction. To fix that problem, we created a new belt and added 2 big wheels on the end, and then had little wheels in between for it to have more support, like in the middle.
So at first, for the conveyor belt, we programmed it so that it would have a touch sensor. So like if else statements, it would be like touch once, and then it would start, touch once, be stopped. Then we realized we needed a reverse button, so then we just did 3 buttons on the brick that would start, stop, and reverse it. And even though you can't see it, this was our knife, and basically we had like an the up-down motion. For all of these we used if and else statements. It would like increment and it would slowly move up or down, and then the sawing motion was just 4 loops of sawing. And we basically did the same thing for this one's the gripper, and then the mixer. We also used just like it was just a whole like if and else statements of it rotating.
So there's supposed to be another picture over there, but basically our knife had 2 sort of motions. It went up and down, and also went back and forth, and it used a sort of elevator type design to do it. So it would go straight up, straight down, and on the bottom would go straight forward and straight back. And then there's also supposed to be more pictures, but basically we had sort of teeth things and gears. You guys might have used that on your robots, that it would roll along, and I would be able to roll it up and down, and also roll it forward and backwards.
So the last part of our robot was the sweeper. Basically, all the sweeper really did was that it took the cut up tofu and then pushed it into the bowl. We used Lego pieces for that part because it was more sturdy than the flexible boards that we wanted to use previously. So we also created an arm for the mixer. The mixer was supposed to be used for the salad that we wanted to create like initially. Like we mentioned before, we weren't able to do that, so it was kind of irrelevant to our project. Even though we weren't able to create the salad, we were able to perform like a basic function. And we were able to cut up tofu, and that turned out really successful. And it was slow, but it was efficient.
So here's what our final product looked like. So basically, it's the conveyor belt like we first planned, and we have the gripper over here, and then the knife next to it. We also had a sweeper in it that was mentioned earlier to push it off the conveyor belt instead of having it roll off.
And so we learned a lot from this project. Just like in the beginning, we had like a huge idea, and like it was like really complicated and ambitious. And we realized, just with like using Legos and like with the time we had, it was kind of unpractical to do that. because it would be a lot easier just to do like a or like a salad robot, and it wasn't. We got frustrated a lot, as Katie and Ann said, with the conveyor belt and the knife. We struggled a lot with that. But we also learned just to be patient, and like even though we weren't able to create a salad, we were happy with what we accomplished, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Thank you for listening to our night.